coverage you can count on. KOMU 8 News starts now.
President Joe Biden and Chinese President Xi Jinping spoke for nearly 2 hours today about Russia and Ukraine. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Elise Schoenig. The relationship between the U.S. and China is rocky, but the call today seemed to focus extensively on Russia's invasion of Ukraine. And the White House says Biden told China the implications and consequences the country would face if it provides material support to Russia. He also talked about sanctions taken against Russia. So far, China has said it's neutral and has not shown it is fully supportive of Russia or directly opposed to its invasion of Ukraine. Both leaders agreed to maintain those open lines of communications going forward. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky delivered an address to his country today. Zelensky says Russia is paying a heavy cost for its invasion. He says Russia does not stop burning its national wealth in the war against Ukraine. He says more than 130 survivors have already been pulled from the basement of the theater that was bombed by Russian forces. But he says hundreds more are still trapped beneath that rubble that's left behind that you're taking a look at right now. Zelensky says Russian forces are preventing humanitarian cargo from entering the city. Millions of Ukrainians have fled to Poland to escape those Russian attacks. For one business owner in Colombia, seeing the attacks can sometimes feel like deja vu. Now, she lived over 50 years in Poland and experienced the fallout after World War II. KOMU 8's Alex Fulton shows us how she's showing support for refugees from right here in mid-Missouri.
Iwana Galiska is hard at work making pierogies at her restaurant, Cafe Poland in Colombia, while showing her support for Ukraine.
Honor Ukraine. Yeah, it's like God bless America.
So far, over 3 million refugees have fled Ukraine, with more than 2 million headed to Poland, where Galiska is from.
I moved here at age 51. Yeah, and I miss my country.
Every day, she talks to her mother in Poland over the phone.
People are waiting for train, people waiting for the bus, and it's so many refugees everywhere.
And every day, Galiska watches the latest on Ukrainian refugees.
When you see, the pregnant woman, and she don't know where she go, where she gonna live.
Her mother lives hours from the Ukrainian border, and there is still a flow of refugees.
We just feel powerless, and we wish them, to win and establish and rebuild the country.
The support at her restaurant leads to conversations.
Thank you very much.
So that even from thousands of miles away, she shows support for her neighboring country. In Colombia, Alex Fulton, KOMU 8 News.
Galiska plans on visiting the Poland border in May. She's already working on turning her American dollars into zlotys. During her visit, she hopes to help Ukrainian refugees by donating items to families in need. And a local nonprofit distribution center in Bowling Green, Kentucky, packed over 9,000 pounds of food to help those in need. This time, the deliveries were sent a little further than usual. The organization House on the Hill packed 8 pallets worth of food to be shipped to, of course, Ukraine. That equals about 11,000 meals. The group is partnering with World Vision to ship the food donations to Ukraine.
Well, one of our core values at House on the Hill is food first, getting food to people who need it the most. And as a core value, seeing what's going on in Ukraine and the displacement and separation of families and the devastation there, we thought this is the least that we could do.
Local elementary school students also wrote notes and drew pictures to add to those food boxes. And continuing with some of those donations, celebrity couple Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis have raised a lot of cash for Ukraine. The actors had a goal to fundraise $30 million for Kunis' home country. More than 65,000 people donated, and the couple announced yesterday they were able to exceed that goal. Kutcher and Kunis say the funds will, quote, provide a softer landing for many people. Matt.
It has been a cooler and rainy day across mid-Missouri. We continue to see those showers, mainly along the I-70 corridor at this point. From Jefferson City to the Lake of the Ozarks, it's currently dry, and really we're just going to continue to see these passing showers as we go through the evening hours. Let's look at the setup here because we have a frontal boundary that's stalled out, and that's creating a pretty big divide in temperatures across the state. It's 43 right now in Tipton and Boonville, 48 in Jefferson City, 47 in Mexico, 41 in Kansas City. But out to the east, it's almost 20 degrees warmer, 59 in St. Louis and in Washington right now. As we go through the evening hours, we're going to continue to see these passing showers off and on through the night. Keep the rain gear handy. We'll track the clearing skies into the weekend coming up.
All right, thanks, Matt. And Mid-Missouri gardeners are feeling some relief after that rainfall you just heard about. KOMU8's Michael Imami joins us in the studio to tell us why the showers today were much needed. Michael.
Yeah, Elise, thanks. I spoke with one producer this afternoon, and he works within the Columbia Center for Urban Agriculture. People who work within the CCUA produce a combined 35,000 tons of produce each year, and a lot of water is needed to grow it. Lack of rainfall in recent weeks has made it tougher for these producers. A small amount of rainfall in the weeks ahead would lead to bigger bills.
But if we have an unusually dry spring, then we will be irrigating more heavily, which amounts to relying on city water and paying a higher water bill to irrigate our crops, which can be a fairly substantial cost.
Now, Cook says he hopes for rainfall to pick up in the next 90 days. More rain within that time frame would reduce the amount of irrigation some of these producers do on their own. In the studio, I'm Michael Imami, KOMU8 News.
Officials today are continuing their investigation after a multi-car wreck shut down several miles of I-57 in southeast Missouri yesterday. 6 people died over there, and the highway was closed for much of the day and last night. First responders say the wreck involved more than 70 vehicles altogether. A Columbia man and a Moberly woman were indicted by a federal jury for their involvement in multiple robberies across Missouri. They were indicted for their role in a conspiracy to commit armed robbery at 4 businesses and 2 banks, all in 6 different cities. The federal indictment alleges the 2 participated in an armed robbery from February to August of 2021. So to take a look at that, over the course of that 7-month period, the pair allegedly robbed 7 different places at gunpoint. You can see those listed out there. They allegedly robbed in Moberly, Mexico, Marshall, Hannibal, and Boonville, and they're accused of stealing more than $30,000 in total. Well, MU Healthcare is making more changes to its visitor policy. Coming up, how it's relaxing some of those restrictions. And Jefferson City's got a new principal, and she's making history in the school district.
Temperatures significantly cooler than this time yesterday by 30 degrees. We are watching a cool start to the weekend, but a warmer weekend at the end of it. Details on what to expect coming up.
Well, a warmer weekend, I will take it. But for now, you're taking a live look over a somewhat gloomy Columbia Regional Airport. This is KOMU8 News at 5. We'll be right back.